Hey pilots, welcome back to some more PvP action in Star Citizens 3.7. Today I'm bringing you the Aegis Gladius, a light fighter featuring superb strafe accelerations, 3 size 3 hardpoints, 2 shield generators, excellent visibility, and killer looks. Gladius is my favorite ship, so I knew I had to do something special for its first PvP compilation. I hope you enjoyed my rock rendition of the classic in-game space combat music in the new intro. Before we get into the action, I'd like to thank you all for watching my videos, and a special thanks to those of you who've subscribed. For a channel just starting out, it makes a huge difference. But enough of that, let's get into some dogfights. So this first fight will be against the Vanguard. And the reason I wanted to show this fight first is because it gives a good example of how ideally you should be maneuvering against larger ships. Now I'm using size 3 fixed ballistic scatterguns, which are an excellent weapon against larger ships. And ideally, when you have this high of a maneuverability advantage, what you really want to be doing is you want to get behind the ship or on top of the ship or underneath it. Just stay out of the firing arcs. And then deal tons of damage while taking none. So, throughout these videos I'm using the stock coolers and shields. The only thing I'm switching around is the weapons. Now here I'm leaving Grim Hex, and I noticed that a couple of people were eyeing me from their ships while I was on the pad, and all of a sudden I see 3 arrows going for me. They fire off a volley of missiles. And there I took one. And a good strategy to avoid getting hit on those initial jousting runs where you blow by each other is do this strafing roll, or skidded roll, as some people call it. And that helps you avoid incoming fire. Now, the benefit of using these gimbaled size 2 Gatlings is they have a very high projectile velocity. And because of that, you have relatively low travel time, which means that in the time that it takes your projectile to get to the target, they don't have a lot of time to do some maneuver to evade it. So they work quite well against very nimble but lightly armored, lightly shielded ships like the Arrow. Now some ships you're not going to be able to put a scratch on them with the Gatlings, and so my general purpose loadout is actually using mass drivers. But against these arrows they work well. So you're kind of limited in the ways that you can maneuver against very fast ships. You're going to have a very hard time, sticking on them like you would a larger ship. And 1 down to 2 to go. So this is the particularly evasive pilot, Rooster, and he kind of likes to do this hit and run thing and then fly away and regenerate his shield, which is a reasonable strategy. And one of the nice things about using any ballistic weapon is that even if people are flying away to regenerate their shields, you're still dealing damage to them, and you can kill them through attrition. And so he runs away, and there's one other pilot that I need to contend with, but I can see on my radar that he's behind me, and not really catching up for whatever reason. Might have his speed limiter set a little low. So sorry about those squeaks that you might hear. The control setup that I use is I use dual stick, and I use a set of racing pedals to control my forward and reverse throttle. And and the forward pedal could use a little WD-40. So a lot of the maneuvering that you're going to be doing when you're faced with multiple opponents like this is, even if you can get on somebody's ass and stick there, you may not want to because you're relatively stationary when you do something like that, which may make it easy to kill one target, but then the other ships are going to be able to very easily shoot at you. So you might notice that I'm doing a lot of turns diagonally. That's because turning diagonally is the fastest method of doing so, because if you think about it, you draw out the vectors of the pitch velocity and the yaw velocity. The hypotenuse of those is in the diagonal. So you turn fastest doing that. Haven't really experimented whether that's also true for strafing. And we only got one more target left, and that was an excellent fight. So this fight is going to show you how Gladius does against the most deadly opponent. Now you saw that I was doing strafing and rolling at the same time when approaching this target. That kind of helps minimize initial damage, but he's got a Hornet with 5 mass drivers, 5 gimbal mass drivers. You only need to take, if you take a direct hit from that, it might be 2 shots, 2 or 3 shots.
Reset shields.
Die. And you heard there, I was resetting my shields because I had them directed forward. And you could see that he timed his shots incredibly. And I win that one by the skin of my teeth. The reason my score's so high there is because everybody left. Alright, so this fight, by contrast, is against a Hornet that isn't outfitted with the deadliest loadout in the game, which is the 5 mass drivers. This one looks like he's got a bunch of Gatlings. You're gonna win the DPS fight in this situation. Maybe not on paper, but definitely less deadly than the 5 mass drivers. You can kind of risk getting closer, and there you go. Big difference from the other Hornet. Now in this fight, I showed you what it's like shooting down arrows using Gatlings. Now contrast that to using mass drivers. The arrows can only take maybe 3 shots, 3 direct hits from the mass drivers on the same location before they die. Oh shit. This guy's attacking me. Quick, kill me before this guy does.
Well, I can't.
The defender with the invisible shit. I'll just run. So here you saw my shields that even though I couldn't see the defender shooting me, I was taking quite a lot of shield damage. I was hanging out with one of my subscribers, my buddy Kenny. I was trying to clear my crime stat by having him kill me for the bounty. But unfortunately, this defender started interfering with our grand plans, so...
He might go after me as well, because he probably thinks I'm gonna steal you or something.
Shields forward. Alright. There we go. Good fight. And in this fight, it's against another Vanguard, but the reason I'm showing this one is I've been finding decoupled flight to be coming in handy in many situations with a new flight model. And I'll demonstrate some of those. So now I'm flying decoupled. And again, you can see me really making the most of my maneuverability advantage. He is doing a fairly good job of evading me. But decoupled lets me more easily stay stuck to a rapidly moving target. And it does make your movements less predictable, I think. Now that was, could have ended badly. So I had to boost reverse strafe out of that one. Don't want to die to a collision. Locked in a turn fight right there. Now this is where flying decoupled is particularly useful. He's moving very fast, and what decoupled allows you to do is turn off having 0 meters per second be your 0 point in location. And I fast forwarded on that one because I was just chasing him basically, but decoupled definitely helps in that situation. And just for the lulz, I had a Aurora come attack me to claim my bounty. Let's see how I do against this brave soldier. Now this video actually will be a good example of what kind of maneuvering you sometimes can do against fast ships. Although I wouldn't really consider the Aurora fast. But it's a good example of strafe negation, where you kind of strafe in the same direction as your target is going to try and fly parallel to them. And this is in remembrance of the great Freelancer PvP meta, where they pull the decoupled reverse strafe and annihilate you. But here I'll show you guys that if you get close enough, you can negate the decoupled reverse strafe. And here's another very challenging fight. You shouldn't bring, don't bring scatterguns to a mass driver fight, and that's exactly what I did in this situation. You can see the Saber is extremely tanky, taking tons of these hits. Look at that. And I'm getting close to my annihilation here. Took a missile hit from somebody, and Freelancer hits you when you least expect it. Here I am, preparing to fight the bane of my existence, one of the most dangerous opponents possible. Look at him. Thank you so much for watching. Comment below and let me know what ship you want to see featured next. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It'll go a long way for my budding channel. Go ahead and join our Discord below if you're looking for people to play with, talk tactics, discuss loadouts, vent about the flight model, and so on. Like us are out.